Why does chasing kill attraction? And I say this with so much love to help you guys out. I'm not trying to put you down in any way. So I'm seeing more and more videos posted on social media. Why don't men chase anymore? Why don't men do this? Why don't men do XYZ? And a lot of women give out really bad dating advice in general because they emphasize their preferences, not considering why their preferences work and why they don't work in specific situations. And yes, I do realize I'm a woman giving dating advice. Yes, I do realize that. But chasing is not a great way for you to communicate desire for her. It often communicates imbalance in the situation. I hate this, but most relationships are a negotiation, a power struggle underlying in. And when you're chasing, you automatically put yourself as the person that's in a position to lose more. And it's like something that's kind of sensed. And I'm not saying you're desperate, but if there's any inkling of desperation there, attraction moves away from that, not towards it. That's why you sometimes see women, they date the man that treats her like absolute garbage, and then she friend zones all these great guys, and she's always like, where are all the good men? He's right there. But she doesn't see him. You can be kind, consistent, interested, and you could express that. The moment your effort outpaces her investment, that's when the dynamic flips. And those dynamics exist, whether we like them or not. I hate this, but. And sometimes other men will help reinforce this to you. If you like her, you'll chase harder. You'll do more for her. If I don't chase, I'll lose her. If I don't prove myself, some other man will. And you guys are coming at this from a place of scarcity, and I get it. Sometimes good women are genuinely hard to find. But if you come on too strong, she'll go with the other guy that hasn't texted her in 2 weeks. It's stupid. And chasing can sometimes be seen as like approval seeking. And if you think about it, when someone knows how much they bring into a relationship and how valuable they are, they don't look outside of themselves for validation. They kind of just know who they are instinctively. That's why it's so important that you make sure she's actually reciprocating. And this is one thing I absolutely hate about dating, but attraction relies on uncertainty, contrast, and earned access. This doesn't mean she needs to rake or mow your lawn in order to see you. I mean, that would be great if she did, right? But she shouldn't get that underlying gut feeling that there's nothing in your life more important than her, especially if you don't know her yet, and chances are you might not. Sometimes we get so excited about a potential person, we start to attribute qualities that don't actually exist to them. We're like, oh my gosh, this is the love of my life, and I don't even know anything about them. But when women start to feel that, sometimes it makes them feel unsafe rather than, wow, this guy really likes me, I found the man of my dreams kind of thing. And people lose interest when they feel like there's nothing left to discover in the situation. Also, another misconception I often see is men are like, oh, well, she likes attention, so I'll give it to her. But unfortunately, giving her lots of attention usually gets you in the friend zone. And you end up draining yourself emotionally and overall for what? Nothing, basically. For a lot of ladies, if they think that you're constantly giving attention to lots of different women, like you've asked out every woman in her friend group and she was up next kind of thing, or just in general, like they feel like you give attention to a lot of women, that you're not practicing discernment, that unfortunately drops her attraction as well. Even though men have to ask out lots of women just to get a date, a lot of women don't see it that way. They're like, oh, well, he asks out every woman. It's not special type of thing. It makes her feel like a fallback rather than your first choice. Even though in a lot of cases you might be chasing and giving her a lot of attention because she is your first choice. But again, women don't often see it that way. Next, a lot of men want to be that good guy. Women talk about, where's all the good men? And you show up and you're genuinely a good man, but she doesn't see it. You think if you're consistent enough, you're patient enough, you're there for her enough, you text her enough, she'll choose you. Instead, she reads it as that you have lack of options, which may not be the case. And that's how she puts you on the back burner or in the friend zone. So in order to prevent yourself from going into the friend zone, attraction needs friction. And no, this doesn't mean you need to start problems or cause chaos in her life. It's like that person you go out on a date with and you have a great date, but you guys are both busy, so you don't text her a lot right after the fact. You guys maybe go a few days or a whole week without seeing each other, and then you have your next date a week or two later. It's like that time without you, she has to sit there and be like, wow, that was a great date. And now I have to sit here and think about him because he's not here right now. That's what I mean by friction. It needs a little bit of that because that builds polarity and builds attraction, and you need more of that. Now, I'm not saying you should play games and not text her after the date, but having some space afterwards is always a good idea. That's, again, with the difference between chasing and just genuinely showing interest. Interest is direct. Chasing is excessive, where she might start to feel a little suffocated. And deep down, she needs to know that you have specific things in your mind that you're looking for. You don't need to necessarily say this or imply this. But she needs to know that she can't just treat you however. You will walk away. Like, it's conditional. You are there to see if she's right for you, kind of thing. Because if she genuinely feels like she can treat you however, and you'll put up with whatever, and you'll keep chasing her, and maybe you don't like her for who she genuinely is, then there's no attraction there. She needs to feel like she has to get to know you, and you have to get to know her for her to build that attraction. She needs to feel like, okay, does he like me in addition to do I like him? It needs to go both ways. And chasing tends to look like repeated initiation. You're really trying to get her to go out. She's blowing you off, saying no, ignoring you, whatever, and you're still going, messaging her over and over again. You send her 2 paragraphs, she sends you 1 word or 1 sentence type of things, and you're okay with that. You just keep going. At that point, you need to, pull it back a little bit and match her investment. Attraction starts to die when she realizes he'll be there no matter how little I give. I can give him a pen while he gives me a brand new car, and he'll still be there. No, you don't want that. And I'm talking about like situations, conversations and such. She needs to be reciprocating. And one thing to keep in mind with if you have the habit of chasing, if stopping all of your effort causes her to vanish on you, there was probably nothing there to begin with. I've seen some men where their entire life revolves around her, and it's overall exhausting. And not only do you deserve better than that, but that's a sign you don't have a real relationship. If you can't step away for 5 minutes, you can't go to work without texting her, and she just goes out with some other guy, chances are that interest might not be there. Also, sometimes you not chasing discourages her from finding somebody else, because that kind of tells her, without playing games, that you do have options, that you have standards and requirements in a relationship, and you will not put up with just whatever. And it's kind of crazy how little actions that we do or not do can communicate a lot about ourselves to the other person. People subconsciously pick up on these types of things. And we all know women tend to go with how they're feeling and their emotions at the moment. So any little underlying inkling she gets from you on certain qualities or things you're doing or not doing is how she's going to end up responding. So one thing to keep in mind, if you initiate twice and she doesn't reciprocate, pull back a bit. This doesn't mean you don't get a chance with her or you're throwing her away. It just means you're going to wait for her to respond. Like if she cancels on you last minute, it's kind of up to her to start the conversation on another date, unless you guys reschedule right off the bat, right then and there. If you genuinely feel like she doesn't like you and you're hoping more effort's going to change her mind, at that point, you need to walk away. And if you're constantly trying to explain your value, stop. Either she sees it already, or she'll never see it, or you're not what she's looking for. And this doesn't mean you're not valuable. You definitely are, 100%. But you just may not be right for her specifically. I'm not going to mix cinnamon and garlic together. That would be gross. It's kind of like that. You're just not compatible together. Maybe that wasn't the best analogy. I just realized garlic can smell bad. Okay, she's the garlic. You're the cinnamon.